My name is Mamie Gummer, and I'm very, very pleased to be joined on stage by two mothers of invention, Anna Stork and Andrea Sreshta. So as you said, usually your first response after a disaster hits is, you're in a rush to supply medicine, food, shelter, but can you go into detail about what makes this little light so important?
Sure. So Andrea and I were actually both graduate students in architecture school at Columbia, as we said in the video, and our studio started just a few weeks after the Haiti earthquake, and we were kind of studying the conditions that were on the ground and looking at what we could design that would really add value and help those victims. And one of the things that really struck us was how unsafe it was for women and children, especially at night. Haiti was in complete darkness, and people were forced to live in these, really densely packed informal settlements. And, we just could not imagine having to worry about personal safety after losing everything. And we saw that, just a simple lighting product that could be distributed in emergencies could really add a lot of safety and especially comfort for those victims.
Yeah, that makes sense. For those out there with what they believe is a great idea, going from inception and going from the drawing board to the factory to fabrication and then distribution is a big leap. So could you talk about the steps that you made toward making this a reality?
Sure. So as Anna mentioned, it started as a school project. And at that time, I can tell you, so we had this idea. It was deliberately simple because we wanted to be able to make it and test it. And we literally started, by ordering electronic components online, walking down the street to Radio Shack, buying handheld heat sealers, prototyping it in our kitchens, testing if it would leak. We went through iteration after iteration. And that was, while we were students. We filed a couple patents around that time as well, because it became kind of clear that, this didn't exist. So it's like, well, what's the first step one might take? You probably want to go see what else is out there and see if it's something that's unique enough to eventually be marketable. And then, so we also had to finish school. So we we were continuously working on this in the background. And when it came time to scale up, we realized we needed a little bit of funding. So we turned to the internet, to a crowdfunding campaign, and ended up raising 5 times more than what our goal was. So that was kind of the first big push.
That's amazing. What was your initial asking, and then what did
our initial ask was, I think it was $10,000, and what we wanted to do was just manufacture the first 500 to 1,000 lights and actually test them out in extreme environments. So we mobilized a few sort of charitable partners at the time, and we were like, take this light out into the world, test it in situations, use it and destroy it basically, and tell us what happens. But then it ended up people just, the momentum of the campaign really built, and we, through that campaign, also discovered a whole other set of customers and people who were interested in the idea. And you asked a little bit about distribution, and that's a lot of what we think about now, especially as it relates back to the disaster relief aid scenario, because that's a real challenge. So these days, that's what we think about a lot.
And could you say what site was it? Kickstarter?
It was actually Indiegogo.com.
Indiegogo. That's good to know. Distribution, how would anyone out there be able to help get this light out there? Is there, I heard about this, give light, get light, get light, give light?
Yeah, so we have a couple different sales channels that we work through. We sell it online on our own website, where you can just purchase a light, or you can purchase a light and donate a light. And we have partner organizations that you can choose from that we partner with to distribute in different areas around the world. We also sell it in a lot of retail stores. So it's in some camping and outdoor stores in the US and internationally. And lastly, we work with a lot of disaster relief aid organizations all around the world. So we distributed around 15,000 after the Philippines through Shelterbox and Doctors Without Borders, which we were really, really excited about because that was the first instance where we really distributed them in volume in an emergency.
And now are you worldwide now? Are you, I mean, how many?
I mean, we're a very small company,
how many roughly have you been able to distribute?
So as Anna mentioned, the Philippines, I mean, we're probably close to between 15 and 20,000 at this point. In some shape or form, we've made, sold, distributed, or donated probably close to about 100,000 lights, and we're approaching our second full year of operations.
That's awesome. I guess my other question is, when you guys set out, and I think you both studied architecture and engineering, did you? Mm-hmm. Was it always a goal to work in the humanitarian field, or did it were you inspired by Haiti and the earthquake and that particular assignment?
So I think, we actually wear so many hats these days running this business that, there's the engineering side to it, there's the business side to it, there's a whole bunch of other aspects. And I think what's central to all of those things is just the desire to want to problem solve. And, so in terms of humanitarian aid, why not problem solve for humanitarian aid? I mean, it's a huge challenge. There's so many factors that make it difficult, but that's what I think keeps us on our toes. So to answer your question, I don't think it was always something that we had our eye on, but I think we really enjoy the day-to-day challenges of problem solving, and then we're very committed to the bigger picture of problem solving, the issue of getting sustainable, safe lighting on the ground after a disaster.
Can you show us how it works?
Yes, of course. Here, give you one too.
Oh, I do it. Okay.
So it's very simple. There's a solar panel and then a rechargeable battery that's really similar to the battery that's in your cell phone. Just an inflatable valve, so you inflate it.
Oh, God.
Takes a little practice.
There you go. Let there be light.
And then you press it once. There's a push button here. You press it once for the low setting, and then twice for the high setting.
Awesome. Thank you both so very much.
Thank you for having us.